All right, guys, so let's start Chapter 9, which is all about securing your system, protecting your digital data and devices. So our learning objectives consist of describing how identity theft is committed and the types of scams identity thieves perpetrate, describing the different types of hackers and the tools they use, explaining what a computer virus is, why it is a threat to your security, how a computing device catches a virus, and the symptoms that it may display. We'll list the different categories of computer viruses and describe their behaviors. Explain what malware, spam, and cookies are and how they impact your security. Talk about social engineering techniques and explain some strategies to avoid falling prey to them. Explain what a firewall is and how a firewall protects your computer from hackers. Talk about how to protect your computer from virus infection. We'll talk about passwords and biometric characteristics, which can be used for user authentication. Talk about ways to surf the web anonymously. We'll talk about types of info you should never share online. Talk about the various types of backups you can perform on your devices, and then explain the various places that you can store those backup files. We'll talk about the negative effects environment and power surges can have on computing devices. And finally, we'll talk about the major concerns when a device is stolen and strategies for solving the problem. Excuse me. So, cybercrime is any criminal action perpetrated primarily through the use of a computer. Okay, that's like the government definition of cybercrime. And cybercriminals are individuals who use computers, networks, and the internet in order to perpetrate crime. The four most common types of criminal complaints all relate to some type of fraud, okay? So we have FBI-related scams, identity theft, okay, non-auction or non-delivery of merchandise, and then advance fee fraud, okay? So what does that mean? Okay, basically, people claim to be like the FBI, okay, or they claim to be, different types of government officials, asking for your information or all different kinds of things, and people give them this a lot of the time, give them that information, not knowing that they're actually handing it off to like a criminal. Okay, non-auction, non-delivery of merchandise, that's basically, so say you buy something like on eBay, for example. I love eBay, so this is nothing against eBay. But basically what they do, you pay for the item and then it never arrives. Okay, so I've had that happen a couple of times. Okay, that goes, of course, with non-delivery merchandise. So anything that you buy online, you actually, you pay for it and then it never comes. That's a type of fraud. Okay. Luckily, if you follow the safe techniques, you paid with your credit card or paid through, PayPal, something like that, you have some way of hopefully recovering your money. Okay. And then advance fee fraud. So, you get an email saying, hey, do this and you'll get this. But in order to do that, you have to first pay $100 or $200. Okay. There's one common one going around right now. And basically, sorry about that. I was playing with touching the screen and of course it changed. But anyway, there's a fee fraud going around right now. And so actually I've gotten a couple of these calls. It drives me nuts. They claim that they're working like for Amazon and they tell you to go to websites like amazonprofits.org and they say they'll pay you like $17 to $23 an hour to basically paste reviews on Amazon. Okay, so yeah, sounds great. Work from home, make all kinds of great money. And then when you go through this process, like you go to their website and stuff, they ask for a $200 fee up front. And once you pay that fee, like the company, no longer has anything to do with you. So they just made $200 off you and you're out, and that's it. No, I did not go through that and pay $200, but because I looked it up, okay? Because I was like, hey, yeah, I can handle making $17 an hour in my spare time. And then, you know, just look stuff up. If it sounds too good to be true, it is. So let's talk about identity theft, okay? This occurs when a thief steals their personal information, your personal information, and then poses as you, okay? It's definitely like the most financially damaging cybercrime for individuals. And at this point in time, we've yet to actually be able to like prosecute people for this, okay? Yes, sometimes they catch them and, you know, they get in trouble, they go to jail, or they pay fines or whatever. However, if you are the person whose identity was stolen, a lot of the times, like, there's nothing that you can do to, you know, fix your credit that's been totally destroyed, or, you know, you end up with massive debt that you did not accrue, but now you are responsible for, okay? And like, how do you prove that it wasn't you that purchased those things or spent that money, okay? That's the problem. It's really hard to prove it wasn't you. And also at this point, like I said, it's really hard for there to be any way to sort of like clean up your credit report, okay? So if they took out a bunch of credit cards in your name, you know, racked up these massive bills, and then didn't pay them, that all comes back to you and looks, you know, bad on you. So it's really financially damaging, okay? Types of scams, so like I was saying, counterfeiting credit and debit cards, okay? If people give out their information, a lot of times, you know, some of our senior citizens do give out information on the phone sometimes. We'll talk about social engineering and fear. You know, people prey on fear, basically, and so that's how they get people to hand out, you know, to spill out their information. And then they're able to counterfeit these credit and debit cards. And there's other ways of doing it also. Requesting changes of address, okay? So now all your mail is getting sent to a different address. You're not aware of this, but it's happening. And then, you know, maybe you got a new credit card or different bank card, things like that. So now someone has that stuff. And then people will also, you know, if they have your social and your address, your name, birth date, get new credit cards. This one I think is really sad, actually. It's obtaining medical services under your name because, you know, people can't afford it. Like, that screams something out about society in general to me, but that's a different topic, okay? And even buying a home. And as far as buying a home, it's not like buying a home and then they just go live in it happily, okay? A lot of times what they do is they purchase a home. They're able to actually attain that level of financial credit with your name, okay? So they buy the home, they turn around and sell it, whether it's for like a profit or not, and then they take the money and leave, and who gets stuck with whatever is left behind as far as the mortgage or, you know, bank fees, things like that? It's you, so it can really hurt you. Hackers. So hackers are most commonly defined as anyone who unlawfully breaks into a computer system. Okay, hacking is sort of up to your interpretation, your beliefs. You know, what do you think about hacking? There's basically, if anyone breaks into a computer system that isn't their own, that is breaking the law. And so the book and the law defines a hacker as anyone who unlawfully breaks into a computer system, right? So we have different types of hackers. There can be white hat hackers or ethical hackers. And what they do is they break into systems like for non-malicious reasons. So they don't have any, you know, ill intent. Basically, they're doing it like to test security systems. So how good is the security on like government sites, things like that, okay? Sometimes, they'll actually get hired by the companies who they've broken into, because the companies are impressed with their skill and how they were able to locate weaknesses in the supposedly secure systems. Okay. It doesn't always prove to be, a great thing to do. I remember a few years back, a man was able to hack into Mark Zuckerberg's Facebook page, and Facebook had said, if you were able to expose a security weakness, they would pay you like 10 grand or something. Okay, so he was able to, like I said, hack into Mark Zuckerberg's Facebook page, post as Mark Zuckerberg, and then he contacted Facebook and said, hey, I found this way to get into the system, I did it, blah, blah, blah. And instead of paying him, they took the cheap route out, and they said since he had posted as Mark Zuckerberg that he was banned from Facebook forever. So, they're not always going to pay up, basically. Black hat hackers, okay, up to no good. Breaking into systems to destroy information or for some sort of illegal gain. All right. We also have gray hat hackers, which illegally break into systems to just sort of like say they did it. So like to flaunt their expertise. Okay. Or again, they will attempt to break into these sites in order to sell their services for exposing these security breaches. Okay, so there's a fine line there on the gray hat hackers. There's other categories, but those are the three most common, the ones that you'll hear about usually. A packet analyzer, what this is, it's also known as a sniffer. Okay, and what it does, it's a program that's deployed by hackers, and what it does is it looks at each packet of data as it travels on the internet. Okay, and so it's able to look at the packets, see what sort of information's in there, whether it's worthy of grabbing. I'm imagining like little puffs of smoke, coming along in the sky, and these people like grab it. Okay, it's a little packet. They sniff out data, basically. All right. There's also something called a keylogger, and this is a program that can be installed on public machines. Okay, so what it does is it logs every single keystroke. So if you go to, your bank account website on a public computer, you enter in your username and password. That information has now been logged, and, that's not a good thing for you. Interestingly enough, and I'm sorry to go off on these tangents, but I think having like real life stories helps you to remember this stuff better. Microsoft, when they came out with Windows 10, actually basically included like a keylogger. Okay, now they would never have called it that, but what they have set up by default, and you should go in if you're running Windows 10, is under privacy, like in Cortana. And yes, I call her, she keeps track of your keystrokes to sort of like predictively see what you're going to type next. Okay, it's a form of machine learning. Anyway, what that means though is that again, every single thing you type is being logged and sent to Microsoft. So I recommend you go into your Cortana settings and change those privacy settings.